How's it going? I hope you're doing just as good as I'm doing today. Really fun workout, honestly. My shoulders are melting off the bone, but bench mixed with clean and jerk normally feels pretty bad, and this was actually a really fun workout. I got to the point where I feel like my form was like kind of teetering back and forth, but I think I pulled it back pretty well towards the end. And just, it's really just about the commitment of like once you get there, you just got to be like, man, I got nothing left to lose. It's that last set. So gotta put your body behind the bar and have a little faith while it's crashing down on you. To get into it. Physically, I can give it a solid 8.4. I felt really, really good. The bench flew, had a lot of fun with it. Clean and jerks again, little off, but I the comeback is what I really like to prioritize thinking about, because that's what really shows how your discipline and your commitment to the weights and the lifts have come. And it's not just about the strength and the weights behind it. It's more so about at least with Olympic, I think it's more so about the technique that you can remain consistent with while your strength depletes along the way. Because it's okay, it's inevitable that you can always lose a little bit of strength in Olympic weightlifting, but be able to bring it back with that technique. But it's always going to be twice as hard. So allowing yourself to really fall into place and allow your body to meet the bar, that's what I really like to see in a good lift. Otherwise, mentally, I was 8.9. Really good day. I was just honestly kind of having fun. On top of all the great lifts, I got to do my abs and cardio with some good homies today. It's kind of funny because I feel like the group I've been hanging out with normally wouldn't do any of that kind of shit, but I think when others see good progress in you or in others around them, it inspires them to not be like them, but have that same kind of drive. And so regardless if they're doing the same shit as you or not, it's not what matters. It's that little bit of effort or that passion that they get to pick up along the way, where they're just damn, that guy's just having fun and it looks like he's dying. I got to do some of that. This is probably why my weights feel like shit. But let's just get to the topic, honestly. I don't really know where to start, but I thought it'd be a good topic to bring up the importance of variability in your lifting and honestly everything. I am such a big guy about analyzing the gym for me about with life, because I have learned so many life lessons and mental toughness throughout the years of me training with this kind of discipline, commitment, the passion. Again, I tell everybody I'm not in there to do my main priority isn't just Olympic lifting. How in life my priority isn't just to have a career or do some other bullshit. My priority is to maintain my life and enjoy my life. So I'm not in there to do Olympic weightlifting. I'm in there to feel awesome and to feel satisfied, to feel fulfilled, and driven to come back the next day because it's such a fun feeling. And again, that transfers over to everything in life. And so when you I guess I can start with the weightlifting part and we can move on to life as we go. I'm sure I'll start getting into a bit of a tangent at some point here, sooner than later. But what I think is really important to think about when it comes to the weights is that a program that lacks the ability to change, or not even directly, but just the intensity, the form, the ideology you have behind what you want to grow from the change that you made, that's what's important. On top of having different lifts to do and different ways to do them and different reps and sets to shock the body, whatever, that's all great. But I think on top of that, I used to look into the Bulgarian Russian lifting way. I don't know. I think I meant the Soviet shit, but whatever. But the old Russian way of lifting, and I guarantee you they still use it now, is the variability is what keeps them going. They use just as much as they need to without using too much. They never go over what they are supposed to do, and they've been doing the trial and error type shit to their own unique physical bodies, to where they can consistently hit those weights without even thinking about it, because they know that that's where they're supposed to be at, and they earned that weight. So, you know, just like the feeling of really earning that weight, it comes with the I guess the excitement, you could say, behind that variability in your lifts. So like for me, for example, you know, it may seem like I do the same thing every fucking day, but like every day is a different workout technically. You know, I have like a full snatch day, there's a full clean and jerk day, I got my squat and my bench days, but I mix them up when it comes to the snatches and clean and jerks. They're not always paired the same way. Like sometimes I have squat with bench, squat with snatch or clean and jerk. It goes back and forth. You know, today I had clean and jerk with bench, even though it would have been easier to snatch after benching. But the reason I do that isn't just for the blatant sake of having variability definitively. It's the experience and mentality I have behind that alteration in the way that I lift. You know, like every time, especially with like my pause weeks versus my normal like rip and rip type weeks. You know, it's not just me being like, oh, well, I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do, so I got to do it. I have a reason and a push to do everything that I do. It's not just a matter of like, oh, well, it's there, so fuck it, why not? It's, you know, like I do a pause week every other part of my program because I like having that mini deload when it comes to the strength, but I still increase the intensity by maintaining the same rep and set scheme while lowering the weight just a slight bit. So I guess on top of that, I don't want you to think that just because you do maybe the same exact workout every single day that you need to change. It's got to come from you. You know, it's like I said before, it's not just the variability when it comes to the definition of doing something different for the sake of doing something different. It's the purpose you have behind that lift. So like, say for example, I'm going to do the same exact program I'm doing right now for the next 6 months, or let's just say 6 cycles, whatever, because it's not going to add up that way. Just because I do the same program for 6 months doesn't mean that I don't change my mindset along the way. You know, like when I started this kind of programming, I was like, okay, well, I want to increase my set volume and stop worrying so much about hitting one really heavy weight so that I stop injuring myself, or I give my body a little bit more time to relax while also increasing the intensity of my conditioning for my core and my technique. And now that all that's kind of honed in, I'm more doing it for the sake of the consistency in my form among these hard conditioning weeks. Because I feel like the first time I did it, the form was a bit all over the place, and I wasn't able to hone it in as much because I was focusing so much on just getting used to the new program. And so, you know, again, like everything, now that I've gotten the time to really adapt, I can look into the deeper things that I haven't gotten to look at yet. You know, like I didn't realize, like just the other day, I said I was jumping forward again on my pause snatches, and I'm like, oh, that's an issue. And I found out that I was my shoulders were slightly too far back when I was at the pause position. So that one little change is what flipped that switch. But the experience I had with the other program cycles to build up to this point is the only reason I was able to sit back and realize that. If I was still unconditioned and inconsistent, then I wouldn't have been able to really focus on what was important at that point in time. You know, it's not, again, it's all at your own pace, and whenever you get to it is when you get to it. But there is always a matter of, like, you got to think about how your intensity in programming is affecting your efficiency. You know, it's not quantity, it's quality. My workouts may seem like they're heinous because of how many sets I do, but I'm doing them so that the quality of my lifts go up. You know, I'm not just doing it to do more for the sake of more. I want to do better in all these other areas, but the first step that I needed to take was getting used to that increase of set volume. So again, try not to get too much in a tangent, but to kind of bring it full circle, you know, to connect it to life in general, I think so many people lack a mental pit of like where all their goals can just pile up and pile up and pile up. Because one thing that I hate is when, hate's a bad word, but something that I just dislike, I guess you could say, you know, I wish it was a different way, is so many people will latch onto the idea of one specific goal because they haven't had the opportunity to really fulfill any goal that they have tried to commit to yet. It's, people at a very young age, whether you're in your teens or your 20s, whatever, and you're just starting out in the big part of your life that seems like you should be doing all this bullshit and whatever. A lot of people will rush it and will rush toward one specific goal just for the sake of saying, oh, well, I did really well in this one specific thing, so everybody can be proud and look at me now. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. It's got to come from you. Just like I said, it's, again, the variability of having several goals and several wants and aspirations in your lifestyle isn't just for the sake of wanting to do some different shit because you're getting bored. It's doing different shit to maintain that passion you have for your own life. I think there's a big mix-up where people will put the passion and the sake and the drive of their life into a goal rather than themselves. It becomes all about the career or all about the hobby or all about the grind instead of how are you doing, Like, did you enjoy the time that you put your effort into that? Because, I know plenty of people who have been successful and did full-blown careers where they were top 1%, whatever, and then by the end of it, they're just sitting there like, fuck, I don't know what the fuck else to do because this is all I thought my life would be. And then they're sitting there at 50 or 60 being like, shit, I have nothing else. And I highly, highly dislike the idea that I could get to an age where I should be having the most fun later in life because I put in that work and I put in that drive and that grind along the way. And then I get there and I'm just sitting there like, man, I'm completely unfulfilled because I didn't give myself any room to grow other than this one specific thing that I latched onto. Because I just wanted to prove to everybody else that I could be successful in anything. So attention's great. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I don't partly lift for the attention. I love having people watch me lift. It hypes me up. But my initial, original, the origins of my passion and the reason why I keep going isn't because people watch me. It's because I get those feelings of fulfillment and passion from the sport itself. So the attention can be some icing on the cake, sure. It's always a great thing to have other people support you and want to show off to other people, but it can't be what you live by. Comparing yourself to others, it's just going to set yourself up for downfall in the future. I always tell people, if you can't enjoy yourself now, in your daily current life, in the present, by the way, the only time of life that actually exists, then you can't enjoy yourself in the future because your bar is consistently going to be raised. It's just natural. So this is, it's kind of why I don't like living by expectations. I like having my hopes as high as I can, and if shit doesn't work out, fuck it, move on to the next thing. I got 1,000 goals in the bottom of my brain. But, more than that, I think that when people put themselves down for this kind of stuff, because you really shouldn't, this isn't a negative thing to have thought that you could have done more or whatever. I don't like saying that I live by regret. Everything that you did up to this point is the reason why you got there and the reason why you're going to be the person in the future, Not that we're banking on that, but that's just how it is. So if it's not about thinking about what you should have or could have done, it's about thinking, okay, well, I did all this and now I want more. So I'm breathing and I'm alive. So what's the next step to get myself to the mental state where I can really put in my efforts and my passion into something that will actually keep me driven, Something I told a good friend of mine lately that they said that it shook their brain a little bit. Another friend of mine actually said that those kinds of things are like an uncooked noodle, just waiting to whatever. I don't weird analogy, but the reason I bring it up is I told them, I was like, okay, well, if you're upset right now, I think what's important to realize is that in life, negative things are technically not real. Now, I don't want people to flip out when I say that. I understand that everybody goes through some shit and everybody's got some bad things happening, maybe, whatever. But I truly, truly believe that we choose to be happy or we choose to be unhappy. Because, for example, again, if this blows your mind, awesome. But I think that if I asked you to name negative things about yourself, you would say things either that you regretted or things that you wish you would do. Things that do not exist. you know? And so if you're constantly living in the past and the future when it comes to your mindset about your own personal success, then you're never going to be able to live in the present. But if I guarantee you, if I ask you about your positive attributes, you're going to give me all concrete, present, current things. Because people don't make up positives because they're things that the brain latches onto. They're the things that we actually want. And it's so easy to latch onto those negatives because it feels natural to experience them. So you're just sitting there being like, oh, I have all this work, so I'm fucked, and I'm scared I'm going to fail. You haven't failed yet, so why are you scared? You know? We're going to wrap it up. The tangent's starting. I'm going to stop myself while I'm ahead. But again, I take it with a grain of salt. Don't think that this is a must or you need to change or you need to add things to your life just because I'm saying that it may help. It's just when you get to a point where you're sitting there thinking negative things about yourself and quite literally making up reasons to dislike what you're doing and dislike yourself, that is what sucks. And so that is where I think the tipping point becomes, I either stop what I'm doing now or I add a little something, a little bit of spice to just get myself moving. So, don't think too hard about it. If you're happy, you're happy. Be confident in that. Be happy for that. There's no reason to change if you don't feel the need to. And if you're happy, if you're going to bed smiling, that's what matters. But if you're sitting there doubting what you're doing or coming up with negatives about yourself that don't even exist anymore, then what are you doing? Just take that next step, talk to someone, and express the way you're feeling so that your brain can actually latch onto a new way to think about these things that might be harming you. So I guess that's all I got. Do what you will with the information. It's always up to you. That you have to find your own way to interpret the things that I'm saying so that it can be your life. I'm always saying do it for you, don't do it for others. Just as I'm talking to you about all this stuff, don't take what I say for gospel or whatever. It's not literal. It's meant to be just, if this is something that you might latch onto, try something a little new, see how it goes, and then move on from there. If it's bad, great, you learned, it's something that you don't want to do. If it's good, great, it's already positive, and you didn't even have to worry about it. That's what's so cool about having this kind of a mindset. Nothing is technically negative. It's only as negative as you allow yourself to be. So that's all I got. Well, it's rest day tomorrow, so I'm sure you'll miss me, but I'll be back in a day and a half. All right, see you.